June 18th, live at the Glenpool Conference Center. King Castro X, Young Master Jules, the Comic-Con, taking a stop at the Tulsa Comic Book Swap.
Yo, it's your main man, King Castro X, coming at you guys live and direct.
What's up, everyone? It is Young Master Jules and Castro. Where we at?
We are here live, ladies and gentlemen, at the Glenpool Conference Center for the Tulsa Comic Book Swap Kids.
12205 South Yukon, Glenpool, Oklahoma.
Tulsa Comic Book Swap. We'll be doing a live podcast, a comic book raffle giveaway donated to us from the illustrious Comic Book Tom kids. There'll be giveaways, food, drinks, snow cones, so much more, kids. Come see us June 18th, 10 a.m., free event. Come on down and let's have a good time. See you later, fellow Gons. Bye.
This that Batman Joker Daily Duo Comic Cons. 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 I'll pop up, break that brother legs. Where is he? Try to run, I'ma hit him with that frisbee. This ain't no pop gun, I'll pop you where your kids be. Clown mask, bloody bad boy, where your friends be. You ain't seen a better duo since Butter Bread. Comic Cons where you need to go for the biz. Comics, video games, anime, or the press. King Castro X, Young Master Jules, they on your head. Remember, smash that like button like a fight button. Follow for more information to get your minds running.
Yo, it's your main man, King Castro X, coming at you guys live and direct with another special episode of the Comic Cons podcast. I think this is episode number 2021, kids.
Yeah, we're moving.
Got my co-host in the building with me, looking beautiful as ever.
Thank you, man. What is up, everyone? It is Young Master Jules, and today we have a really special guest, Miss Tami Erin. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. So this is Comic Cons. We're basically anime, movies, cartoons, all that
Video
fun
games,
stuff.
all
Yeah.
things nerdy.
But we were super interested in getting to know you, to interview you, all that fun stuff. We were a fan of the movie, so just hearing that you will be here is phenomenal.
For those of you guys that don't know, watching at home, ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Tami Erin, 1988 Pippi Longstocking, the New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking movie, guys, as well as has been in several other pictures such as Kill You Twice, My Uncle Alien, and also had an appearance on Tim and Eric's Awesome Show, correct?
Yeah.
So, yes, ma'am. We're super happy to have you here. It's going to be a great time. My brother has some, as I explained off air, I'll explain it again here. My brother has some amazing questions. He's going to start off the show asking you, and then we're just going to jump into it again. Thank you so much for being here.
For sure, yeah. So Wheaton, Illinois is where you're from, correct? What was your childhood like growing up in Wheaton? I know you were only there until, 8? And then 9? So what is that like compared to Oklahoma? Oklahoma is super country. I'm not sure about Illinois. But yeah, what is the difference or similarities between how you grew up and now in Oklahoma?
Well, it's kind of like I came full circle because growing up in Wheaton, both of my grandparents had horse stables. So they had their own barn. And my grandfather, on my dad's side, he was a horseshoer. And so I grew up around, and then also my mom's parents, to explain like the whole familiarity with cows.
Yeah.
They owned a dairy farm, a family dairy farm, which is actually pretty big. It was called Greenleaf Farm, and it was in Black River Falls, Wisconsin. They had like 75 cows, and they had horses, and they had like 250 acres. It was, huge. So I really like that I've gotten to travel all over the world, but the life that I have now, which is more of like the when I'm old and I want to settle down kind of life that I have now, that I get to do it here.
Right.
Because it has everything. Like in Wheaton, we walked to school. It was very Norman Rockwell, but it was just really like a sweet type of growing up. But also, that's where I started my career with Elite in Chicago. So there were, there's the city and all of that, but I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, no,
the country
for sure.
aspect.
And you kind of answered another question. So modeling at age 8, correct?
Yes.
So what was the motive to pursue both careers, modeling and acting, both of them having their similarities yet differences? So how did you tackle that at such a young age?
So I got discovered for my first modeling job when I was 5. I was at the Brookfield Zoo. and I was with my mom and my brothers. They were doing a soda pop campaign called Jolly Good Soda,
Okay.
which is like a regional soda brand. And so the photographer saw me, and then he went to my mom, and then 10 minutes later I'm holding their can and wearing their t-shirt, and it was a little ringer t-shirt, white with like red, Jolly Good Soda. And then when my picture came out in the newspaper, I had the biggest picture in the ad.
Oh, dang.
So I was then telling my parents, okay, so I want to be a model now.
Yeah.
Look, I have the biggest picture. So anyway, I was begging my parents at 6, I told them I want to be a movie star. And I told them, I want to be a movie star.
Right.
Like, I guess
Just with all the
glamour.
sassiness.
Yeah. So they laughed and they said, of course you want to be a movie star, Tammy.
Right.
Everybody wants to be a movie star. So when I was 8, my dad was vice president of Victory Beauty Supply, which is a beauty supply distributor. And Michael Davis, the owner, the president, came to him and he said, there's an open quality elite, so why don't you have Gail take Tammy and see if they'll give her a contract? And my dad hesitated because he wasn't sure if my mom, who was a housewife, if she would be good at managing me, if he really wanted me to have a career. He wasn't sure of all that. But Michael said, if you don't bet the farm on this girl, you're making a mistake. And so my dad was like, okay, so he's vice president, and the president is like, no, you really need to do this. And used a little bit of leverage. And that was so my dad had my mom bring me, and it was actually an adults open call.
Okay.
Wow.
So we get to downtown Chicago, and it's blocks of all these adult models and actors waiting in line. So my mom realizes this. She just takes me by the hand, marches me straight up the stairs, goes to the receptionist, gives her this little tiny like school picture of me, like a crumpled little school picture out of her wallet. She says, we've come so far, can someone see her?
Yeah.
So the receptionist takes it. She brings it to Eileen Stewart's office. She gives it to her, and she says, okay, so she can come in. And Eileen was the owner of that division, of that office of Elite. Elite is one of the biggest modeling agencies in the world. So Chicago Elite, like Cindy Crawford, was launched from their office. So anyway, so they bring me in to meet Eileen Stewart, and I'm just talking with her and all of that. And then within about 5 minutes, she offers me a contract, and I was thrilled. And that was, that was the beginning of all of it. Within 1 week, I had my first modeling campaign, which was one page of just me for People magazine, coast to coast, and it was for Texas Instruments Computers.
Okay.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So that seems like a lot, especially at that young of an age, seeing all these women or men being models. It must have been intimidating. But at this young age, how did you stay normal or grounded to being a child with everything that's coming in so quickly?
It was normal for me because when I was a kid, I always loved to entertain people. So it was a natural fit for me. I didn't have acting classes. Even when I got Pippi, I didn't have any acting classes.
Really?
Yeah, I was just a performer. But also my dad, I think in '85, he got a big VHS camera. And so he would have us just perform.
Yeah.
And we would do like comedy and like SNL inspired stuff. So our parents let us watch that when we were like, I was like 7 when I got to watch Steve Martin and the Blues Brothers and all of that. So so we would perform, and sometimes I would have my friends over, but I would sing a song, then I would act out a character, and then I would do improvisation and gymnastics, and then shove my brothers out of the frame of the camera so that he would focus on me. And that was,
What I think is fascinating about all of this is that at this age, right, most people, it takes a while to, get to know themselves, get to know, like, this is what I want to do. At that age, as you said, you weren't intimidated. You were ready to go.
Yeah.
You just kind of already knew what you wanted to do. I just wanted to add that in. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. So I actually didn't know that you started Elite in Chicago. I saw that it was based out of Florida. I thought it was based out of Florida, but you guys moved to Florida around 9?
When I was 9, we moved to Florida, and we lived there until I was 12. But Miami, near Miami,
Yeah.
for clients.
That's beautiful. And you got the contract that day from Elite. And is that what transitioned you guys to Miami?
No, when we moved, my career was taken into account, but my dad's career as vice president in the beauty industry at 25, his goal was to always move to bigger and bigger beauty supply distributors. So when he finally was at West Coast, that's the biggest in the country, that's when he finally retired early. So it all was kind of in alignment, but all the markets that we really moved to, I could pretty much work, like in Miami, I worked there. When we moved to New Jersey, the Jersey Shore, then I would audition and do jobs in New York. So it all kind of worked. But yeah, my dad was a VP in the beauty industry.
That's pretty cool. So method acting, singing, and dancing, and gymnastics. That's the list, I'm telling you guys. So being a jack of all trades, how did that help your career? Being around all these talented little girls or whomever, did your talents from just who you are, did that help you further along in your career?
It helped, and I'm also lucky that my parents were supportive. So, I think I started doing actual gymnastics training 7 years old.
Really?
My mom was interested in dance, and eventually when we lived in Miami, she started teaching aerobics, which I've taken like 100 aerobics classes. Sometimes I think that should embarrass me, but I'm like, my mom was teaching, so I had to go to classes after school. So, but yeah, I'm just lucky. And also the horseback riding, because there were equestrians on both sides of my family, it was just natural that I was going to learn how to ride horses. But then getting into stunts was really special.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I've been called a high performer. And when I pick up something, a skill like gymnastics, I didn't just want to do like tumbling. It's like once I get good at something, I want to know all the tricks.
Yeah.
So, so I'm just lucky that they were supportive of that, and that the kids around me, I was a ringleader, and they all allowed it.
Yeah.
Like, this is a silly story, but it makes me think back to it, because in first grade we had our school play, and it was actually not our class play. And out of all the boys and girls, they chose me to be Abraham Lincoln. Yeah.
As it should be. I feel like women should rule the country. I'm just saying that.
No,
Throwing
I
that out
think
there.
it was just funny that they would all let me, like, tell them, like, hey, let's do a play for our parents across the street with the bed sheets, and let's do Grease, which when we did it, it was nothing like Grease. But I was like, you can sing and you can dance and you'll do this and then say this, and, so
right.
I was just that kid.
Yeah, and method acting. I'm not sure if I have the correct definition, but method acting is where you live the part of the character. How was that for you? Because we're big fans of DC, and Heath Ledger method act, and that drove him crazy. How did that? What did it do to you, if anything?
What's
just
that like?
Yeah, being Pippi herself.
That is amazing. I'm really lucky that it's studied. Yeah, it's real. I got to study with Jeff Corey in Malibu, and so I was flying in there to study with him, and like Jeff had done over 100 movies in his own right as an actor.
Yeah.
He like Jack Nicholson, Dustin Hoffman, Penny Marshall, Jane Fonda, he trained all of them.
Yeah,
so to study with him
right.
privately was amazing. But one thing that he would do when he would act out a script, he was like magic. He would take the script and he would take a couple of steps, and just like this magic, the accent and the mannerisms and just everything, his body movements, he would just walk into the character. I think learning from him as my first real acting coach was a privilege, but also something that really informed my knowledge of what it is. And then getting to be Pippi, who has so much freedom and carefree and doing whatever she wants and saying whatever she wants and never gets in trouble for it. That was really it's carried on because I had a lot of those outgoing traits, and I was a bit of a tomboy, but it made me feel like I could do anything.
Right.
And I think that is something that I hope people get from the character. But yes, so I'm really lucky to have studied with Jeff, because he was really a master at method acting.
Yeah.
I also had dinner with Jack Nicholson at Pebble Beach.
Hey, there we go.
This is a real, it was
Did he
so
pay for
amazing.
the dinner?
Well, no. So I was there with a friend of mine who was a producer. He produced, hi, Bo. He produced and directed a movie called Tilt, starring Brooke Shields, and it was about her playing. She was like a pinball wizard.
Okay.
Okay, so his name was Rudy Durant, and so he was friends with Jack Nicholson, and Jack was there golfing, and so it was just 4 of us at dinner, and so like I was waiting for the moment when there would be a lull in the conversation. I could say, Jack, I studied with Jeff Corey, and finally there was that moment, and Jack just had this, like his head went back, and he went, Jeff. I was like, oh.
Right.
Like, I had my moment, but it was even more amazing because that night we went into Monterey, and the Jorises own this restaurant called Terra Nova. Yeah, Terra Nova. Jack went behind the bar and started serving drinks.
Sounds like a Jack thing.
He was everybody. He's really as cool as you think he is. He is.
Yeah, that's super cool. And that's a great transition into my next question. As Pippi, age 11, beating out 8,000 girls. Is that true? Or is that...
That's true.
Golly. So between the ages of 8 and now 11 that you got this opportunity to be Pippi, what did you learn in that short time, like about the industry, about yourself, about how this works?
From 8 to 11?
Yes.
Okay, so during that time, I had done national commercials and modeling campaigns, and I did one European commercial as well, which was for Nestle for Sunday candy bars. I learned to be around adults and really to focus, to take direction.
I feel that would help in that field as well.
And also, my parents had kind of a deal with me that as long as I got straight A's, then I could be a model. And so
they held your values as...
Your education is really important. And so as long as you can prove to us that you can handle this responsibility, then you can have it. And so having an A-type personality, that part was fine for me because I was the one dragging my parents. I know a lot of kids in entertainment, like their parents push them into it. No, I was the one telling my parents I want to do this, begging for 3 years from 5 to 8.
Right.
And then finally I get to do that. And then, getting the my first audition for Pippi was so exciting because it was Garrison True, who was flying all over the world. He had discovered Aileen Quinn for Annie.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's doing this worldwide search trying to find me. So I was thrilled to meet him, and it was a big cattle call, and so I go in, and I'm so excited, and I'm waiting in line with everybody, and there's all these kids. He walks out, and he's looking around, and then he walked up to me, and he goes, "You're Tammy." Yeah. And then he picked me to just come on in. And I was like, oh my God, he likes me. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a chance.
Right.
So we read a couple of scenes, and in fact, when I had a few minutes, this I think was really helpful for me. I can be shy, not as much now, but I could be shy until I felt like inspired, and then I would just want to, So my mom had me, it was at a hotel in Orlando, which is my first audition, and she had me walk around the edge of the pool with the sunbathers and everybody there and sing "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow," and just in front of everybody, so that I would shake off the nerves.
Right.
So anyway, I ran a couple of scenes with Garrison, and then I left, and I was like, "Thank you," and I was like, "Oh, I hope he liked me."
Right.
So I leave. I find out years later, I think I was 20 or 21, and I had lunch with Garrison. He goes, that after you left the audition room, I immediately called Ken, who was the director.
Yeah, Mr. Anakin, yeah.
Yes, Ken Anakin. And he said, "I think we found her." So he had an idea. Then they auditioned over 8,000 girls worldwide. Drew Barrymore wanted the role.
Oh, damn.
Which is really cool. She's a big fan of Pippi Longstocking.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, I love her. I think she's great.
Yeah. So do you remember any of the lines that you and the casting team went back and forth together?
I remember the lines from the movie.
Okay.
Like for your audition.
Yeah, audition, yeah.
For those 2 scenes, I think it was the I'm Pippalata Delicatessa Window Shade Longstocking, daughter of Captain Ethan Longstocking, Pippi for short. And it's with Mr. Blackheart, who comes to the house and he sees my house, Villa Villacula.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's this little kid doing in this house? And like, how can I steal the house from her?
Yeah. So it was directed by Mr. Anakin, and he quoted something that I found phenomenal. He said, "When she smiles, everyone is happy. She is Pippi Longstocking." When you heard that, how did that make you feel, knowing that, damn, they were really looking for me? I was the only one that could play this character.
It was really special. Ken became like my second dad, but what he said further, so that to me, she radiates sunshine. That's one of the biggest compliments you can give to a person.
Right.
But he also said, when I was doing my acting training, he told Jeff, I don't want Tammy to become Pippi, I want Pippi to become Tammy.
Wow.
So there was something about it that he just felt my outgoing personality and smiley and it just was what he wanted. But also I was a natural kid. I wasn't a Hollywood kid. Like Jenny Lewis is super talented, and she went on to do a bunch of movies. She had done a bunch of movies before. She was one of the last 3. But she had more. She went on to do Troop Beverly Hills. So that should tell you, like, she's very much, she had that Hollywood adorable, like
right.
perfect. And I was more of like a natural tomboy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, growing up in Illinois, country, I believe, right? So yeah, just being that is the best. Yeah. So that's beautiful. So getting the role is one thing, but executing the role is another. What was that like for you? Was it challenging? Was it easy? If you just want to explain how that was.
I was excited from the very moment. I was never nervous, which was funny because through the first audition, the callback screen test, and then a final screen test in Los Angeles. It was at the Mulholland Tennis Club, and that's where I met Jenny Lewis and Faye Masterson. And no, I was never nervous. And I think once I knew I had the role, it was like I actually said, finally. That was the first thing I said.
Yeah, it took them long enough.
God. And then I was like, finally. So... yeah, no, it wasn't that it took them long enough, and I don't know why that was my answer. But I think it was just all of it wrapped up that I actually thought I could become a movie star. And then, you know, going through all of this finally I get to do it. It was a thrill, and so as soon as Ken told me, he had me come to the elevator, and the elevator doors open, he goes, "You got it. Finally!"
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes, "Okay, so hurry back to your room because USA Today is going to be taking your photo for the cover of the Life section." So that was it. Like, it was immediate. And then the next day I had to do this big press thing for the international press. And I opened my door in USA Today, and I get the paper, and I'm opening, all right, that's me, yes, awesome. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm in everybody's newspaper. Oh, in the whole hotel. Oh my God, I'm in everybody's newspaper.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It was that was different than People Magazine. People Magazine was cool. And also, I would do ads for like Kmart and JCPenney and Sears, and they would be in the newspaper, and then all the kids would bring it to school. So Tammy, you're in the newspaper. And then during recess or lunch, they would be all over because everybody would find out I knew.
Right.
And so they would just be all over the ground, which was kind of surreal. This time it was different because it was on this level that I didn't understand. Like an international level. Like just being in the magazine was like, oh, that's so cool, and I get to be a model. But that was different. It was like, my God, the world gets to know me.
Yeah.
And my publicist, Becky Vietz, I had 2 of them from Longstocking Productions, but Becky Vietz said, you belong to the world now. And I was so excited. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
I want to belong to the world. But she said also, you might want to keep things for yourself as you get older, like when you start dating, your relationships, your family. But it was amazing, and I was so lucky to work with Ken and have such a connection with him that I continued to stay close to him as his second daughter.
Yeah.
And also his wife, Pauline, a movie producer, she was like my second mom. So, it was really a dream come true on so many levels.
Yeah, that's a great advice, especially keeping your personal life separate as you get older. I mean, we see a lot of child stars grow up and succumb to addiction or whatever the case may be, just because the pressure of who they used to be is not who they are now.
Or it can be intrusive, and I think like constantly being in the spotlight. And I don't think there's not always someone there to protect them or to teach them how to set proper boundaries. My parents were very focused on don't brag to your friends about your work. You know, if you are out of school for a day, then when you go back to school, they'll know that you've been working. So you tell them all about it and tell them how much fun you had and share it with them.
Right.
So that was one thing. And also with Ken Anakin and all the Dick Van Patten and Dennis Dugan and Eileen Brennan, everyone being around me, and also the crew members, because they were super cool when we were filming. I had so many adults being super protective of me that I was always safe.
So that's a perfect segue into this. One of the questions I had written down was, what was your support group like while filming Pippi Longstocking, and even thereafter, if you don't mind going into that?
Yeah, well, we just all got along so well. David Seaman and Corey Crow, and they played Tommy and Annika. And then David's mom, Mary, and Corey's dad. So they got me a house on Amelia Island, and then they were in townhouses, and so they got all of us, had a big dinner at the beach club. The Amelia Island plantation is really beautiful.
Is it?
So I could go on and on about it. But, so we were all a family, but then then there's like the hair and makeup ladies. Then there's the wardrobe ladies. Jacqueline St. Anne, who did all the costumes. She was awesome. And she, by that point, she had won some awards for costume design. So, like, what she did was she was just brilliant. And she, like, the pirate costume, I had the original drawing of it. Like, she designed all the costumes, like, from scratch.
That's amazing.
Amazing, yeah. So, and then the crew members, I got to learn about the different types of lights, and they would tell me jokes, and then eventually I had this quirky idea I was told a riddle that no one could figure out, and when I was told the answer to it, I'm like, oh, that's really funny. So I went around and I bet all the crew members $1 that they couldn't figure out the answer to this riddle, and it was just a way to laugh and make a little, I think I made $40.
Can we hear the riddle? Do you remember it?
I don't remember it, but it was so good that nobody got it. And when I would tell them, they would have a good laugh.
Oh, that's amazing.
I think that's great. Let me ask you this. On set, right? You talk about meeting or having all these people around you, the makeup ladies, the costume lady, the director, all these other people. What was day-to-day life like on the set? Going to like the food, the filming, things like that, all of that.
The food was amazing. So the first day, the catering truck, they had me tell them what I wanted, and I wanted like tacos and nachos, blueberry pancakes, French toast. So they would always make special stuff for us.
Delicious.
They made the best food. And then there was also craft service. So our craft service guy was the best. I mean, always. And that was really, we were always kind of hanging around. And also they would get extra. I love sweets. When I was a kid, I really loved sweets.
I can see that.
And 2 things that they got for me was these cream horns. They came in a pack of 4, and so they gave me like 2 packs to put in my fridge in my trailer. And so I would go in there and like sneak and eat my little right. And then also, I don't think they gave this to me. I think I just took it. They got pecan pies, and they were like this high, but they were really big, and I ate half of a pecan pie. I've never been more nauseous in my life with the butter and sugar from it.
That's how it is.
It was amazing. But yeah, that having like your own kind of personal chef, they really spoiled us. They really did. It was awesome.
It's amazing. We need to hurry up and make it, man. I'm hungry. I'm hungry out here in these streets, man, and I need this food.
Yeah. We definitely need to get movies. Doing other projects, modeling, film, being an ambassador of the unit, absolutely incredible. Do you still feel that the film Pippi Longstocking holds relevance or influence within your life today?
Yes. Not only me, but also with the theme with Pippi was strong and brave and kind. And I think those are always really important qualities. And further, the attitude of never giving up is something that everyone should have.
Definitely.
I have a friend who is in fashion, and he said, you never know what's right around the corner, so you can never give up. But also with Pippi, it's one of the major themes is I'll always come out on top and never give up. And I think those are important for kids today, and that's why when I've just started going around to schools and reading.
I saw that on Facebook, actually.
Yeah. So I think, and also I guest coached a basketball team for Future of Tomorrow, which is charity. So I've been doing charity a long time, but getting back to the Pippi books, I would really love to introduce it to the kids so that they can feel understand that those same characteristics of being strong and brave and kind are valuable, and then to never give up and to believe in yourself and also to be yourself.
Yeah, and that's what I think needs to happen more often. We're in the day of age of social media, seeing all these celebrities' lives that we can't get to, and these movie characters or cartoon characters or whomever show you real human value, like the strength, the love, the perseverance, all that fun stuff. So for you to have the same love that you did back then and now trying to give it to children is beautiful, and I feel like we need more of that. So that's amazing.
Yeah. I feel really lucky. When I became a UN ambassador at 14, so 14 to 15, I was one of the youngest in history, and it was an exclusive appointment, meaning I was the only one that year. So when I learned about the hunger, education, and wartime issues that children face globally, that's what I spoke about at the UN. It actually opened my eyes a lot because I didn't realize there were these massive struggles. Like children don't even have water, or they have limited access to education. They're living in a war-torn country. These things really opened my eyes, and so after doing all my duties for them, which one was that I spoke to the delegates of over 100 countries at the UN on World Children's Day.
Yeah.
I have a plaque for that.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so that year I was the special guest. If there's 46 World Children's Days. So if there's only one per day, then I'm one of 46 in the world, which is so incredible. Yeah. Oh, it's in the office, I think. Oh, it's in the boxes from the Swedish film crew.
I wanted to ask you, just going off of you being a UN and things like that, just all of your achievements, being an actress, a model, things like that, getting to see the world. What are some of your most favorite or your happiest experiences, just on this long journey of amazing things you got to do?
Well, speaking at the United Nations, that's a bucket list thing that you don't even get to ask for.
Right.
Like, just to get that was really beyond. Spending time with Astrid Lindgren in Stockholm, Sweden, I got to meet her in Los Angeles first.
Wow.
And do like promotional photo shoots with her. And then when we did, so the first royal world premiere was in Tokyo, Japan with Princess Nori.
Okay.
And then the second was in Stockholm, Sweden with King Carl and Queen Sylvia and Astrid.
Really?
So she had a luncheon
That's
at her
crazy.
house, which was beyond. And I actually got to see the window where she did all of her writing.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So very inspirational. I
Yeah.
can see that. Do you have any?
Yeah, I got more.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, okay, so there's a scene in the film, right? Close to the beginning, obviously, where you're on the boat, and there's a giant storm. I wanted to know how much of that scene is movie magic and how much of it was, real.
I'm glad you brought up that one. This is the first time I'm talking about that scene, but so the crow's nest was on the back of a rig up on a truck.
Okay.
And it was way up high, and I was in the crow's nest. I did 80% of my own stunts. So the wood and then the ring was styrofoam. So they had me jump with a harness on out of it, and they're spraying me with fireman's hoses.
Oh, dang.
Really?
Yeah, but when it got real interesting was when we were filming in the middle of the night. Probably, I think we filmed until maybe 3, thereabouts. And we were filming, so they lined a swimming pool with black felt. So it looked like the ocean. And they had these big, triangle, churning things. So all these, crew members are on the side of the pool, churning it. So I have to jump from the diving board into the pool. And the shoes are like this big, so they fill up with water and are super heavy. And the crew members are churning it, so it's like I'm gonna drown.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm also getting sprayed straight in the face with the fireman's hose. So it was fun and
Sounds tough.
Yeah.
I'm like dramatic guy.
I'd have been like, guys, we have to stop.
Okay. Chill for a second, please.
But man, she's doing a great job. No, she's dying.
Yeah.
No, I didn't complain. I'm a tough cookie, but it was funny because it was like, this is so real. Like, this is no joke.
There's that method acting for you.
So anyway, we had a great time, but yeah, it was hard and the shoes were heavy and I was getting sprayed right in the face and going underwater and the whole deal. But I was entirely safe and I knew that, so I would be fine. But the other one though, there was one time though where I did start crying, and that was when the monkeys. I hope you know I'm getting this story.
No, not at all.
There were 2 monkeys, but when I throw Mr. Nielsen into the burning orphanage, okay, so they had me up probably 10 feet high, and they have a board, and so they recreated the telephone pole and the window. And so the board is maybe this wide, and then there's the rope on it, so it looks like I'm walking on the rope. The monkey was up there, and it's this big rope, and I'm trying to tie it around his waist, so he really doesn't like it because it's big, and, he's feeling squished. He kept biting the inside of my hand, and I held it in for so long, and I think it was like the 8th take or the 9th take, and finally, I'm doing it all over, and I finally, he's biting my hand. I finally broke. I couldn't take it, so I looked right into the camera.
Just going off of that, really quick, my bad.
No, you're good, brother. You're good, brother.
But I was told not to ask the question, but I got to ask because you're talking to the movie nerd in me. So there's the scene. My bad. I'm a huge geek, man. I love this stuff. There's a scene where you guys are doing the what is that? Hold on, give me 10 seconds. You know what question I'm asking? The cleaning scene, right? Where you guys have the scrub. Do you have any funny stories in regards to that scene? I just feel like that was a fun moment, and I just wondered how it went on set. I'm curious.
The whole thing was really fun. I did part of the stunts. Allison, who did the other stunts, she did part of it. But what was cool was they were actual roller skates. They had cut out these big, or made probably, but they were almost like these, like a broom, like a, push
See, I
broom.
had no idea what they were. I thought they were legit, like little scrubs or something.
No, they were roller skates, and then if you were to probably cut apart, like one of those nice long ones, the industrial rooms, and then like build it around a skate, that's what it was like, and then stick the boot on top of it. Yeah, so they were roller skates, and they worked really well. It was really easy. I did the part getting up onto the cabinets where, all of that. And then the one part that Allison did, which thank God she did, because there's no way I was going to do that. She kicked the ironing board down and then, skated down it. That was the one thing. I'm so grateful. She did the backflips. She jumped from the roof, though, and I wanted to do that, too, because I was running all over the roof and climbing up the drain pipes, so a lot of it I love doing. But she jumped from the roof. She did that stunt for, skating down, and then she also did the backflips, like, effortlessly. In scrubbing day, when it was before the full body thing spun around, she did the backflip out of the wash tub.
That's incredible.
Golly.
Yeah, she was great. She was really cool.
I always love seeing those pictures of like the actors and their stunt doubles. I would never assume that they switch places, so that's really cool to hear.
So it was you though doing the moves, right? Was there?
The skating was.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Oh, I was a big roller skater.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so looking back at your careers, Pippi, what is something you're grateful for? Box offices hitting 3.6 million, 18 different languages. You quoted someone saying you are everyone's now, and you have become everyone. So what is that like, just looking back at all that you accomplished from that character herself?
35 years later, it's amazing that our movie, we knew it was something special because first Astrid Lindgren, of course, but Ken Anakin was an Academy Award nominated director. He directed Swiss Family Robinson, and he directed over 50 movies. Disney legend, Disney Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, which he chose me to give him his award.
That's exciting.
That was so cool. Then we had all these veteran actors that were so amazing. So we've got all these really great ingredients. And so 35 years later, looking at it selling worldwide all this time, and probably will be selling the rest of my life, I'm so proud of us.
Yeah.
And I'm also incredibly, I'm so grateful for everything it brought to my life, not just the movie, but also like Ken and Pauline and all the relationships. Faye Masterson and I are still friends all this time. So, yeah, I just feel incredibly grateful and incredibly blessed.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I watched an interview you did sometime back where the interviewer asked you advice for upcoming actors and actresses trying to make it. And you responded with recognizing your talents and acting on them. At what stage in your life did you realize you were talented and felt special? And how did that affect your journey going into Pippi Longstocking and even past that?
I knew when I got the movie that I had natural talent, but I also knew that I had some confidence built up from booking commercials. So out of all the kids, they had chosen me. And especially when I did the commercial for Nestle, it was such an odd, their casting choice, the location was very odd. I'm doing like a French commercial, I'm playing a French farm girl, and I'm in a field in Miami in a corn cob farmer's truck. Wow. Eating a candy bar. Like, it was the whole thing was like, so this is how it is. This is the facade. Anyway, so my confidence up until that point, and then of course getting chosen by Garrison and Gary Melman, the executive producer, believing in me, and his kids, Rami and Alex, them going, but you are Pippi, Tammy. All of that was awesome. But further, once I studied with Jeff Corey, and he was like just giving me little guidance. Okay, so try it this way. Okay, that was great. Okay, so let's add this to it. And then we would do maybe sometimes improvisation to get to kind of the heart and the rhythm, the feeling of the scene. Once I worked with him, it gave me more confidence because it was such a subtle process, but I felt like, oh wow, like he's a master at this.
Right.
And I get to study with him one-on-one, and he's not like really correcting me that much, so maybe I am good at this.
I think that's fascinating, having the opportunity to work under somebody's wing like that with that much experience at that early of an age. I think that's really cool. Just going off of what you said, leading into my next question, I know you've done movies, but also you've spent some time on TV. Doing TV. What's the differences between filming, film versus like you did the Tim and Eric?
Well, that one wound up on TV, but it was interesting. That one was like a movie because it was for Adult Swim, and I actually thought it was a movie.
Really?
It kind of is because it's the Tim and Eric Crimbus movie. So it was part of their TV show, but it was filmed as a 2-hour movie. And they also did a national tour, which was unheard of, I think.
Right, yeah.
And Jeff Goldblum, he did that. And so when I got to meet him, I told him about it, which was kind of cool. But working with them was phenomenal because I was so thrilled that they wanted me. And also that I got to do comedy. Again.
Right. I think that that's really interesting, especially going from something like Pippi Longstocking to Tim and Eric, who has a completely different style than what we're used to seeing you do. So I think that that's really cool. I got another question for you. Being a childhood actress, right?
Yeah.
What were some films that inspired you to make you want to get into acting? It was like, this is what I want to do. This is fascinating to me.
The Breakfast Club was my favorite
Nice, great
ever. Yeah, that one I've seen, I don't know how many times, probably like 100 times. The Outsiders I really liked, and so I learned a lot about that. I'm wearing their t-shirt.
You were just at the Outsiders' house sometime back.
Yeah, actually it was a week ago, last weekend.
There it is.
Saturday, and I got a monkey,
Hey.
which was beyond. I'm so lucky, yeah, Safari Joe.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. He knew someone who had a baby spider monkey. So that one, but let's see, what else? Well, Swiss Family Robinson I loved, and that was Ken's movie. Annie I loved. Let's see.
Now, I saw something on just, searching the internet the other day, working on this interview and thing. Now, did Annie, I think her name is, did she play Pippi as well?
Aileen Quinn. No, Aileen Quinn played Annie, and now I think she teaches acting at the actual place where they filmed Mr. Moneybags? Whatever his name is. No, Fairbanks or whatever. Where they filmed the big stair scene. That's actually at a university, and I think I read about this like a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago, maybe that long. But they actually hired her to teach acting there.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's in New Jersey. So, but no, there was, Shirley Temple did play Pippi Longstocking.
That's who I mentioned. I confused the two. I'm sorry.
That's so, amazing.
Yeah, any more questions about the character?
Yeah.
I'm finishing up with the promotion.
Okay, definitely. So, are there any funny, what's the funniest moment filming in general? Just one of your happiest memories.
Well, the ice cream scene gets brought up a lot because when we started, we were all having a ton of fun, but it was like 100 degrees in Florida when we were filming, and so Main Street, by the time, first I got to throw ice cream at Ken, which is super fun. We all had a great time with that. Eileen Brennan, who's she's so amazing, and I was almost intimidated by her, except that I got to really spend time with her and bond with her. So she gets plopped in the head with ice cream. That's all awesome. Until we had all the extras come in, which my brothers got to be in it, Gary Bellman, the executive producers, his daughters got to be in it. So all these towns kids, once they did that, some of them were throwing real ice cream, some mashed potatoes. By the time it was like 4 o'clock, the stench, the funk that was on the pavement was beyond.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. So they shut down, and then they had to wash the streets.
That's amazing. I want to know, with the impact that this movie's left. I know you go to conventions and things like that. I know there's just a huge following to the film. What's it like going to conventions or just doing signings and things like that, meeting the people that this movie has impacted? What's that like for you?
It's amazing. I love to see their eyes light up when they meet me, and I've had all kinds of reactions. People jump on me and hug me, which is so sweet. People tell me stories of how it inspired them. I've had people start crying.
Wow.
And then, tell me stories that it made, they were trying to get through something or overcome something. I've received fan mail from kids who were sick in the hospital, and it helped them, get well. But mostly it's just people seeing me and going, you're her. Mm-hmm. I'm right here in front of you.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
To have been part of their life and to have made such a positive impact to people all over the world, that blows my mind. Mm-hmm. And I also feel incredibly honored that millions of people all over the world have seen our movie, and that part of my legacy is making people happy and feel inspired and laugh and feel free.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and that brings me into our next segment, celebrating 35 years of Pippi. You are now doing a meet and greet, if I'm not mistaken, at in Oklahoma City, at the Remington Park and Remington Drive. Just a little shout out from there. But you answered a little bit of my next question: how does it make you feel knowing that these people are inspired by you? But there was a quote that I heard, and it was like, when you're in the movie theaters, people go and see you, they dress up and all that fun stuff. But if you're a TV show, they invite you into their home. And I feel like once Pippi hit DVD or VHS, whatever, I'm young, I'm sorry, whatever they had back then, people invited you into their home. You became their daughter, their sister, their friend. So just seeing that is really inspiring, because that's what I want to leave behind with my personal podcast, and especially this one, is changing lives, not even knowing it. I don't care if I know it or not, but feeling like I'm doing good, I think that's a big thing, and I really appreciate all that you have done, especially for little girls who wanted to act, little boys who wanted to act, and even adults. I told my grandmother, she was like, "Yes, that's amazing. I watched it all the time." So yeah, for sure. And my grandmother's name is Gail, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, so just back to, is your mom named Gail?
My mom's named
Yeah,
Gail.
so that's pretty cool.
Funny.
Yeah.
So, just going off of what he said, a perfect way to take it before we wrap up here.
Yeah.
What do you think drew such a large and adoring audience to Pippi's character?
I think that, so I think you either want to be like Pippi Longstocking or you want to be her friend. Yeah, she's like they used to say like she's the girl that girls want to be like, and the girl that like boys want to be friends with, or something like that. But,
Boys want to be with her, girls want to be like her.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I just think being free-spirited and carefree and having fun and just enjoying your life and making friends with everyone. That's something really special about the character, is that, you can be friends with everyone.
Yeah.
And just be fun, be yourself, and, be free and laugh and enjoy your life and help other people and, do some things that are maybe outside of the box or breaking the rules.
Yeah.
So
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. Listening to this whole thing, I'm like, wow, she was inspiring. She was all this. But I feel like you were this before Pippi. They told you, we want Pippi to be Tammy, not Tammy to be Pippi. So I feel like it wouldn't have worked any other way if you wasn't who you are. So, I don't know. I just feel like I needed to say that. Just hearing that was amazing. Anything else from you, brother? We can plug the... Perfect. So the event is Saturday, June 24th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday, June 25th, 11 a.m. to 5. What can we expect from Pippi herself? Not interviews, signings, pictures?
Yeah, so it's a meet and greet, and there's always plenty of autographed merch. So there's like pictures and DVDs and Blu-rays and posters and T-shirts and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and selfies.
Exciting.
Plenty of that. And also, they should go to, I have like eight appearances this summer. So if you guys go to TamiErin.com,
Yep, I wrote.
you'll see my whole link tree, and it will show you all the places. So hopefully you guys can come out to one of my events that are kind of all over the U.S.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys are looking for more information about this Oklahoma City meet and greet, you can go to okcpop.com. Again, that is where you'll get all your information. And again, I wrote it down, so it's cool that you brought it up. The Tammy, TamiErinShop.com. I'm going to buy me some merch on there. It looked amazing.
Thank you.
But yeah, that's...
Is there anything else you want to plug, Tammy? The documentary you guys just wrapped yesterday.
That's so thrilling. It will be coming out in 2 years. So yes, I want
Okay,
people to look for it.
Stay tuned,
But
kids.
stay
You got a
tuned for
little
2
bit.
years, because it's going to be coming out in alignment with the 80th anniversary for the Pippi Longstocking books.
amazing.
Exciting.
And also check into my YouTube channel, because I am now starting, now that we've settled into our house.
We
and
just subbed to you.
We're
Yeah.
so ready. I'm going to be telling stories about 16 countries and guest of royalty, UN
Wonderful.
ambassador, and living in Belize, and just all the crazy adventures that I've had in my life, and then take you guys along to my appearances, and and also some of my day-to-day stuff. Like, you can cook with me and garden with me, and like mostly cook with me. Gardening is a little bit boring, so I'm not going to go real far into that topic. But do Q&As and live streams and all the fun stuff.
Exciting. I graduated culinary school, so I'm looking forward to some tasty food. Just
Oh.
throwing that out there.
Awesome. That would be cool. Also, it'd be really cool, since we have hardwood floors, it would be fun if I could actually skate them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I would be tuned for that.
Tammy, on behalf of the Comic-Cons, I just want to thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank
You're
you so
literally
much.
our biggest guest thus far.
Thank you so much.
It happened by chance. Shout out to Tommy in the background. He's the reason that we got to do something as amazing as this. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's the best. His movie's a huge inspiration. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having
Anything
me.
else you want to plug?
No, that's it. Just stay tuned to TamiErin.com, and I'll always update with my link trees and new press that I do, new interviews. And go to all my social media and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'll be putting out videos more than once a week. And come on my adventures. And now I live at Grand Lake, so come boating with me.
Yeah, now it's the adventures
oh, my
of
hot
Erin.
toad! I totally forgot. I have a new Airbnb. I just got it like 3 weeks ago. So I have a boat that is at the Marina Del Rey Resort.
Okay.
Which has all kinds of amenities. So I have a boat that's Pippi's Hop Toad, and we are getting it all set up right now to rent out as my first Airbnb.
That's
How
so
could somebody
cool.
rent that out? Me and the wife might definitely have to check something.
I would I would just stay there by myself.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be on my link tree, and also Airbnb will be the first place that we're going to launch it. So, and it's called Pippi's Hop Toad. Yeah.
Okay.
Fun.
At the Marina on Grand Lake at the Marina Del Rey Resort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jules?
No, just check out Socks on Our podcast. A lot of fun stuff. I have a new series coming out called Sibling Talk. That is my version of a therapy session where people talk about childhood trauma that hinder them from being their best self. So that's one thing to stay tuned for.
Kids, check out the Comic-Cons podcast on all streaming platforms. That's COMICKHANS. That's Cons as in Kings podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Also check us out on all forms of social media. Comic-Cons podcast, spelled exactly the same way I spelled it previous. Kids, check me out on Twitch, King Castro X Gaming. Do we got anything else coming up? This
June 18th.
June 18th, kids, come see us live at Comic-Con. We'll be doing a giveaway of a bunch of comic books as well as so many other things that Nick Golter has got us. This guy just keeps giving us things to give away to you guys. So come see us do a live podcast. My wife's sister, Alex Miller, another comedian. Shout out to my wife. You guys know my wife, Joe Miller, also a comedian. Soul Tap Podcast. They'll be in the building podcasting with us on and off. And she'll be making like little knit things. I don't know. It's going to be a great time, kids. Come see us. There's hot dogs, snow cones. You know the drill.
Other things. And
Other
us.
stuff.
We'll be there.
We will be there podcasting, guys. We just got to talk to Pippi Longstocking herself, ladies and gentlemen. Check out Tami Erin. Such a huge pleasure to have you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, guys. Stay tuned. Subscribe, like, comment, all of that good stuff.
And may your pain be champagne.
Truly, that's how we end the podcast, kids. We're out. Bye. Later. Thank you. All right. Perfect.